It's a lot to dump on an umpire. If you get it slightly wrong, it's a big penalty. I think an independent person sitting in the stands, whether it be an umpiring coach who is at the game, whether he or she reviews the footage and has a certain amount of time to make the call. They're in constant dialogue with the umpires anyway with the pieces, so they can relay that message. But I'd have concerns about an umpire making a call. You're not going to get it 100% right, because you're not going to see every incident from the right angles. James cited the 2004 Grand Final, another game he officiated, as an example of how a send-off rule could go wrong, pointing to the infamous scuffle between Brisbane's Alistair Lynch and Port Adelaide's Daryl Wakelin, in which neither player ultimately connected with a punch. Andrew Gaff's moment of madness could cost the Eagles dearly come September. Photo, AAP. I think if you looked at that from the wrong angle, you may look at sending an Alistair Lynch or a Daryl Wakelin off, James said. When in hindsight, you view it from multiple angles, neither of them really land a punch. That's where it could be really costly, but I don't think we see those issues in the game really often now. James maintained however that send-offs could have a place in the game. Oh absolutely. I heard Fremantle coach Ross Lyon say that he stayed out there for longer to try and get his players to not seek retribution. But human nature is, if you saw one of your teammates get hit like Brayshaw I was, as an umpire, you've got heightened awareness, because you know at some point a player is going to look for a form of payback, or flying the flag. So it would alleviate that. James said, taking that player off the ground takes away the risk associated of him being out there. Because I think the risk of him being injured by a player seeking retribution is higher. I umpired probably the most volatile derby. It was over there with Dale Kickett. You just didn't know where to look. Where was it coming from next? Does that take your focus away from the contest? Yes. Does an umpire miss a free kick because he's looking for other things? Yes, I think that more than likely does happen. AFL chief Gillan McLachlan dismissed suggestions that a send-off rule was necessary when asked about the topic following Greater Western Sydney spearhead Jeremy Cameron's hit on Brisbane Lion Harris Andrews, for which Cameron was suspended for 5 matches after Andrews suffered a brain bleed. It's also understood a send-off rule was not discussed at the most recent AFL Competition Committee meeting. Match review officer Michael Christian said on Monday that whether a send-off rule should be introduced was not an issue within his remit. Matthews told Macquarie Sports Radio on Monday that send-offs should be introduced. I hope the AFL, behind the scenes, are asking themselves the question, Matthews said, claiming that both Cameron and Gaff should have been sent off following their respective acts. Brayshaw's lost to Fremantle, therefore Gaff should be lost to the Eagles. James, 44, remains involved in the game, having recently moved into player management after a stint as head of women's football at Collingwood.